few days ago, I was asked a question, and you know the sort of questions you sometimes get. You think, well, if I really answered that question properly, I could probably write a book. Well, the only way I could think to deal with it was just to take the question and to run with the first thoughts that came into my head on the basis that if I was being asked for my top 5 tips for building a successful business, these are likely to have been the 5 most important things to me. Our business has grown many times over the last few years. And from our initial office, we now have 5 offices. And so you would say that we probably know a little bit about building a business. Now, I'm not saying that I know it all, but you're going to get my opinion on my 5 top tips. Now, first and foremost is attitude. There are many aspects to this, but most important is that you've got to be open to constantly learning. You've got to be willing to communicate. We learn a lot by just chatting with our competitors. We're all in the same business. We all have the same issues and problems. We're not talking about clients' businesses, but you learn a lot from just talking to other people. You have to graft. You have to learn to plough your own furrow. You have to decide where you're going, and then you take one step at a time to get there. Ultimately, you identify your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. Where are you going to go in the next 10 years? And you're going to make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing enough. You also have to accept that there is a price for making a success, and that price is that you have to forego some of the more pleasurable things in life. Now, some years ago, I had a client, or at least a potential client, who left a very well-paid job to start their own business. After 6 months, I asked them how they were doing, and they said they'd almost got the logo and the letterhead sorted out. I told them to go and get a customer. Next I heard they'd got a job. Without a customer, you don't have a business. It's only if you've got a business that you have the opportunity to succeed. And getting customers is tough. And so you have to be prepared to do what it takes to get that customer signed up. So you've got your first few customers on board. How do you build your business from there? Well, how many people do you know? Perhaps you know 100 people. How many people do they know? Perhaps another 100. So that's 10,000 people that potentially could be customers of yours. So cultivate people who can refer work to you, cultivate people who can introduce you to people they know. Identify your target customers and be prepared to hunt them down. Remember that if you want to soar with the eagles, don't scrub around on the ground with the turkeys. Now, given that you're starting a business, you obviously need to know something. And this is where ability comes in. What do you know? What else do you need to know? How are you going to find it out? Who can help you learn it? You've got to be able to show that you are what is on your tin. Otherwise, people are going to see through you pretty quickly, and they're not going to recommend you to their contacts. Finally, resilience. Now, it is absolutely guaranteed that you're going to make mistakes. As I said before, if you're not making mistakes, you're not doing enough. Your customers will buy for their own reasons, and it's not always logical, and you'll get setbacks and knockback at times when you thought that it was obvious that they were going to buy from you. Something is always about to go wrong, you just don't know it yet. But the answer is that it's not what goes wrong, it's how you deal with it. Remember that the most important word in business is next. As I said, I could probably write a book on this subject, and anybody who wants to come along and have a chat with me sometime over a cup of coffee is more than welcome. But for the moment, I'm Alan Long from the Long Partnership, making life less taxing.